There are places in this world, places that do not remember time, but remember people. Places that wait, places that watch, places that whisper, even when no one is listening. This is one of those places. The house was already there before he arrived, already breathing, already awake, already hungry for a new soul to echo inside its walls. He came to it expecting silence, expecting peace, expecting distance from the chaos of the life he was running from. But the house and the shadows inside it had been waiting far too long to remain silent. They were eager to speak. He first saw the house at dusk, when the sky bleeds into deep violet and the world becomes a silhouette of itself. The trees around it stood like tall, patient witnesses, unmoving, unblinking, unchanging. The path that led to the front door was narrow, overgrown, and impossibly quiet. No insects, no wind, just a long, heavy stillness, the kind of stillness that does not occur naturally. He felt it, even if he did not understand it. The way the air thickened near the door, the way the temperature dropped as he reached for the old iron handle, the way the wood beneath his feet seemed to pulse, almost as if the house had a heartbeat. When he stepped inside, the silence followed him. But it was not empty silence. It was a silence that listens, a silence that leans in, a silence that waits. That first night, he unpacked slowly. Each sound, each box hitting the floor, each footstep, each quiet exhale echoed too loudly through the house, as if the walls were hollow, or eager to swallow every noise he made. He thought he heard something while he worked, a faint shift, a soft brush, like fabric sliding against wood. A murmur too subtle to identify. He dismissed it. Old houses make old sounds. But the shadows did not like being ignored. They first spoke to him that night, not with words, not yet. He lay in bed, still unfamiliar with the shape of the room, still adjusting to the strange weight of the darkness there. At first, the darkness seemed normal, just absence of light, just the natural shadowed corners of an old bedroom. But slowly, the shadows began to move, not with sudden motion, not with violence. They shifted, like fog, like slow waves rolling across a cold shore, almost graceful. He stared at them, trying to convince himself it was his eyes adjusting, just the tricks of a tired mind. But then he heard it, a whisper, soft, deep, close, too close. Not outside the room, not in the hallway. It came from the darkest corner, right next to the bed. A single breath of sound. Stay. He froze, his breath locked in his chest. The word was faint, incomplete, barely shaped, like a thought spoken accidentally. He turned on the lamp instantly. The shadows retreated, not dissolved, retreated, as if the light physically pushed them back. He did not sleep again that night. In the morning, the house looked normal, quiet, harmless, still. He convinced himself he imagined it, but the shadows had waited too long to be imagined away. Over the next days, the house shifted subtly around him. He would find objects moved a few inches from where he left them. Doors he was certain he closed would be open. Sometimes the lights would flicker, not randomly, but rhythmically, almost like blinking. He began hearing faint sounds at night, the soft scrape, scrape, scrape of something dragging along the floorboards, the quiet tapping on the walls, like someone knocking from inside them. And always, always, the whispers, not words, not fully formed, just breaths, hums, shreds of sound, like something trying to remember how to speak. The shadows grew bolder too. They stretched farther. They lingered longer. Sometimes when he walked past a doorway, a shape would follow him just a moment too late, as if echoing his movement with a delay. He tried to ignore it. Humans can ignore anything until it calls their name. And the house knew his name before he ever spoke it aloud. On the 8th night, the whispering changed. It was no longer random, no longer disjointed. It was intentional. He woke up abruptly without knowing why. The room was dark, darker than usual, as if the shadows had thickened. The air was cold, not the chill of winter, but the cold of something unseen standing too close. He felt it before he heard it, the presence in the corner. And then, a voice formed in the dark, slow, dry, breathing through 1,000 years of dust. "You hear us now." He sat up, pulse pounding, but fear held him still. The shadows rippled, gathering themselves, folding like dark wings. Another whisper rose. We waited. He struggled to speak, voice shaking. Waited for what? The answer came at once, from every corner of the room, layered, overlapping, echoing like breath against bone. Waited for you. He thought about running, about leaving the house forever. But the shadows sensed the thought, and they swelled upward, filling the ceiling, reaching down the walls like dripping ink. They weren't threatening him. They were surrounding him, claiming him. The last whisper that night was the quietest yet. A soft, mournful tone. Don't go. The next day, he tried to stay out of the house. He walked the forest trails, sat near the river, wandered aimlessly just to avoid returning home. But the house changed him. He began to feel watched, even outdoors. The sunlight felt thinner. The world felt distant, muted, like he was hearing everything through a veil. By the time the sun began to set, he felt something pulling him back, a strange, magnetic tug in his chest. Not fear, not obligation, but familiarity. He realized something the shadows had always known. The house wasn't haunting him. It was remembering him. That night, the whispers were waiting. He entered the bedroom and the darkness settled around him like a heavy blanket. The corner where the voice first spoke pulsed gently, as if aware, as if alive. He sat on the bed, exhausted. Why me? He whispered. The answer came instantly, not from one voice, but from many. You were here before. He froze. The shadows shifted, swirling like storm clouds caught in slow motion. You lived, and you died, inside these walls. His breath trembled. The cold spread up his spine. Memories flickered in his mind, vague, distant, impossible. A door closing, a scream muffled by wood, a long, echoing fall. Another whisper rose. Your shadow stayed. The darkness in the corner formed a shape now, not human, not fully, but familiar. We kept it, safe. He felt no fear anymore, just inevitability. The shadows stretched toward him, reaching with tendrils of soft, weightless dark, not to harm, to welcome. You came home, they whispered. And as the lights in the house slowly faded, one by one, room by room, he finally understood. The house had never been empty. He had never been alone, and he was never meant to leave. Because the shadows that whispered were not strangers. They were pieces of him, waiting to be whole again.